What's up, all you cool kids? This is Daisy Collins coming at you with a tutorial video for my new rainbow quilt, rainbow patchwork journal. I am so excited about this. This video was inspired by a rainbow quilt video that I saw here on YouTube. I will link the video down below. She is doing it, I believe, in a 12 by 12 square, and I said, well, that doesn't really work for me. She does have a template, however, that template doesn't work for me. So it is my original template that I designed to make the rainbow effect, but it's not my original idea. So I wanted to make sure to give credit where credit is due, where my inspiration came from. I actually have two templates for two different types of rainbow quilts. This is one of them. The other one has the circle starting more over here in the corner and kind of radiating out, as opposed to this cover right here, which is a rainbow shape. So if you want to learn how to make this journal here, please follow along with this tutorial. It is a 3-part tutorial. In this first part, I will show you how to make the cover, where to get the template, how to put the template together, where to get the template. And in the second video, I will be putting the cover together with the chipboard. And then in the third video, I will be showing you how to make this inside cover and how to sew in your signatures. And so please keep tuned for those. Please do subscribe to my channel so that you can keep up with what I'm doing. I always go live Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 12 a.m. Central Standard Time and 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also have junk journal printables over at my shop at TsunamiRose.net if you are interested. Thank you so much for joining me here for this tutorial, and without further ado, let's start. So first you want to start by printing out the template that I have listed down below in the description, as well as I left it as a comment. This is the template for the free rainbow quilt junk journal cover. This is template number 1. This is the left page, and here it says template number 1, a right page. I have another template where I'll show you all how to do that another time, but for right now we're going to concentrate on this template right here. They're JPEGs, and I just printed them out, nothing special. What you want to do is you do want to cut mine. I cannot print borderless. If you can print borderless, that would be perfect. I cannot. So there's a little bit of a border right here, a little bit of a part where I didn't print out the rest of the pattern. But that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that little bit off where it has nothing printed on there. Cut it off. And then I need to join it with the other side. I'm sorry, my cat it's his playtime right now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to join them where they look like they match up good. The seam is not very big, so you shouldn't have like a big gap or anything. And then all I'm going to do is tape it together. So after you're done taping your template together so that it makes nice smooth lines there, the seam is very, very little, so you're not going to, if you have a big old gap here, you didn't do it correctly. You just need to make sure the line is continuously and smooth. The left page is on the left, right page is on the right. So the next step is to pick your fabrics, and what you want to do is you want to have the template be nestled inside the fabric. So you want your fabric to be bigger than the template all the way around, just slightly bigger. You see that? That's the size piece of fabric that you're going to need. After that, after you've chosen your fabrics, what you want to do, and cut out your fabrics to size, what you want to do is you want to, I'm going to use my HeatnBond Lite for this project. It is an iron-on adhesive that you can sew through. There's also a HeatnBond Ultra Hold. If you don't plan on sewing through the cover, then you can use HeatnBond Ultra Hold, but I do, so I'm using HeatnBond Lite, and you can find it as purple. HeatnBond Ultra Hold is red, so you want to look for the purple packaging. I have purchased this at Walmart. They sell it by packages of 5 yards, and now I went to the extreme and I purchased it from Amazon, like with 35 yards or something. I really like this stuff. I use it a lot. A lot of quilters use this for appliques, so if they want to have like crazy shapes on their quilts, they'll use this with that. So what you want to do is you want to cut a piece of this HeatnBond that is about the same size as your template here. And I have this here. I'm going to cut it just slightly above or below the template, so it's just a little bit bigger than the template itself. Let me pull this out one more time. Okay. And if you don't have this or this, you could just cut it with scissors. Okay, so next comes a little bit of the tricky part. So what you want to do, is you want to, I have a big giant cutting board here, so I can cut, or I can do a lot of stuff here on my table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this, I can line it up here with these lines here. I'm going to tape the template down on the corners so that it's steady and it doesn't move. And then what you need to do, the HeatnBond has this shiny texture side, and that is the adhesive. And on the other side, it is matte and smooth. That is paper-like. So what you want to do is you want to tape the textured, shiny side down. You want to kind of line this up within the template. If possible, line up the bottom so it's nice and straight up with the template, and the rest of it can be whatever. So you want to have this nice line down here. And we're going to go ahead and tape this HeatnBond down where we didn't tape the template down. So I'm taping it in places that are not taped down with the template because I want that to stay fixed. So I'm just taping it all the way around. And what we want to do is we want to trace these lines onto the HeatnBond. And what we're going to want is you want to use a pencil that is kind of worn down a little bit. So I have this pencil and it has this like flat angled side already naturally. Well, not naturally, I guess they just got there somehow. So that is a lot better if you can get a pencil like that, because you want to try and match up the lines, and if you could have, it almost gives you like an even thickness all the way around when you're tracing. When I'm tracing this, I'm all over the table, so I'm not going to get to doing that here on camera entirely, because I'll literally be like right here. I'll be in front of the camera. But what does work for me is, like I said, this flat-edged pencil. And I like to push. What I find easiest is to push. So if I push my pencil, I do small strokes too. I don't do big strokes. But I just kind of push the pencil. And that helps me get a nice trace here. You can erase it and try again. But you see how that little, or maybe you can't see it on camera, but this line here is skinnier than this line. So that's why I like to keep it on that same edge. I'm going to go ahead and trace these basically on the back of all of the HeatnBonds. So I have 5 fabrics, and so I need to trace this on all the 5 HeatnBonds here. So I'll do that and be right back. So once you have all of the rainbows traced on the back of our HeatnBond, I have about one for each fabric, so I have 5 of these sheets here ready to go. What we're going to do is we're going to iron this onto the back of the fabric. So actually first let me iron this a little bit because it's a little wrinkly. I just have a regular iron and it is set to the hottest setting. No water. No water. Just ironing it nicely here. Okay. So, we're going to iron the wrong side of the fabric to the shiny textured part of the HeatnBond Lite. So wrong side of the fabric to the textured side. I'm going to center the HeatnBond here on the fabric. Make sure it gets all corners. And then I am just going to activate the adhesive by leaving on my iron on a certain spot for about 30 seconds, moving on to the next. You don't want to glide your iron around on this, you want to pick it up and move it. The adhesive right now is basically a gel, and if you move it around with your iron, the HeatnBond will slide around on your fabric. So again, I do go over the same spot a couple of times. Like I said, for about 30 seconds. Then I move on to the next spot. And the next spot. And you do this all the way down for all of your fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll fast forward for y'all so you guys don't have to see this. There's a lot of ironing action going on right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward for you guys. Once you have the fabric all ironed on to the HeatnBond, as you can see our template that we drew on very, very clearly. And what we need to do next is we need to cut off the extra fabric and cut out the strips. Okay, so after you do that, you're going to want to go in and, like I said, cut out the strips. I start from the middle, but of course you do whatever you want. And I'm just cutting almost in between where I drew, trying to be kind of in the middle of it. And of course it's a lot easier and you get a little bit more of a smoother cut if you move the paper instead of the scissors. Except for this last little bit here, it's kind of hard to do that. There we go. So keep all your pieces together, and I'll show y'all how I mix it up later. Out of this one time you do this, you're going to get 5 journal covers because you need so much fabric. It'll be 5 journal covers once it's all mixed together because I used 5 fabrics. And each one of them I'm doing the same process here. So in the end I'll have enough for 5 journals. So do keep that in mind. And I'm going to go ahead and do this for all the fabrics and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have all my strips cut up. I've also layered them here where like there's one layer of each fabric for all the strips, so they're all in order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take from each pile. I'm going to start with this one, and then what I'm going to do for the next one is I'm going to put this fabric here to the back. And then what I'm going to do with this one again is put it to the back. And then I'm going to put the second fabric, because I don't want it to be the same fabric here. I'm going to put that one to the back as well. And that'll be my third strip. So again, with this one, same thing. Put that to the back, put that to the back, that to the back, and we're going to do this fabric on here. And then the last fabric, the last one, we are going to put all, and I do this specifically because when I do this, it like mixes them up. Just kind of putting the next one to the back, and we're going to end with the large pink one. Now, these are basically what is called appliques, which basically means you've got fabric on adhesive backing, and you're going to put that on top of whatever you're making, whether it be a quilt or something else. So it's basically like you're making your own stickers. So these are basically huge stickers here. Let me move this here off to the side. I have my iron on, since like I said, the HeatnBond is iron-on adhesive. And what I'm going to do is I am going to stick these strips onto paper. Now I'm going to be using packing paper, which is also called newsprint paper, newspaper. Basically, this right here is, I guess the same paper newspaper is printed from, but this big sheet here is basically for when you move and you want to put like some cushion in between your plates or your photo frames, what have you. This is what you would crumble up and use as that. But I use these specifically for my junk journal covers. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your strip. I'm going to first start off with this like little half moon circle. I'm going to peel off the plastic backing from our piece of fabric. The shiny part is the one that is adhesive. So you want to place the shiny part down on your piece of HeatnBond here. And I'm going to use the very, very edge of the paper as like kind of like a guide. I'm going to hold it in place here. Then I'm going to place my iron on top and again activate the adhesive by melting it. You leave it on there for a good 30 seconds. Don't move it around, don't move your iron around, leave it on there for 30 seconds. I'm gonna go with my next piece and so on until I build a rainbow, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do that so you guys can see me kind of in the process here. Okay, so future me here, after having done this more times than I'd like to count, I have figured out, because when I was putting them together earlier, I was like, why are there these gaps, why are there these gaps? So I found what I was doing wrong. Let me show you on this one what it is that I need. In the video I didn't talk about it, but here, well, not in the video, I mean the recording I did earlier, I didn't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this now. Peel off the part that we want. Now what I want to do is I want it to be all even here at the end instead of me having to even it out. So what I need to be doing actually is I need to be setting it right here where it's supposed to be on the very edge. I have to align little by little. I have to piece it back together little by little. I'm gonna just iron right here so that it sticks, right? I'm going to literally put my strip right next to the edge where it needs to be. And trust me, I'm not perfect when I cut these, but since I started doing it this way, where I actually like really like go little by little instead of just kind of placing it on top and trying to iron it, if I go little by little, placing the edges together, it kind of fits like a little puzzle. Okay. And look on this side. Like I said, putting it where it's supposed to be. Just being a little bit more mindful. That's it, you guys. That's a lot better. That's a lot better than what I was doing earlier. Okay. There we go. Just wanted to show you guys that. Okay, now I have finished ironing on all of my strips here to my packing paper. This journal cover here should work for a lot of journals out there, a lot of sizes, anywhere from the smaller size, probably slightly a little bit bigger too. I normally make my journal covers 8.5, 5.5 with a 2.5 inch spine. So they measure about, I think what I say, 17, like this cover right here itself. Measures 13.5 by about 8.5. So what you want to do is you want to find the size of your cover that you want to do, and then you want to add 1/2 inch all the way around, and that should be the size that you ultimately need. So the size that I need here is 15 by 9.75, and that's the cover plus 1/2 inch all the way around. So let me go ahead and show y'all here. Okay, so the way I was trying to square this off or get it to be the size that I needed off earlier wasn't working out, so I got another cover. It just didn't work on camera. Ultimately, I got it to the size I needed to be done, but I just wasn't able to get it done on camera. So anyways, I have this example here that I've been showing off. I'm going to use it, actually, to figure out here where I need to cut. I've already kind of evened out the bottom part of it, so I need to figure out where I need to cut this journal cover here so it's just the right size. And let me see. Okay, I have some tape next to me. Just some good old Scotch tape. Let me tape down my cover so it doesn't move around on me. Okay, so I'm going to lay this, and what I'm looking at is this little part right here. I want to make sure it's kind of even. So I can visualize it. So it looks even to me right here. So now what I want to do, yep, I'm going to physically tape I'm going to physically tape this down so that way I can get it to be the right size, because otherwise I couldn't do it any other way. Sometimes I have to do it to, like, I have to, like, pretend I'm a 3-year-old and then do it that way. Okay, so let's get this squared off here. This is where it looks like it's about even. And I did make sure to kind of make my journal cover a little bit bigger than I needed. And you'll have these extra pieces here. You can use these to decorate paper. You can sew on them. You can make little tabs out of this. It's basically fabric paper. Okay, now we are going to, I do have to move it. I did tape it down. Okay. Let's cut this part off here. You could use scissors, of course, but if you are going to be working with fabric on journal covers, I really do suggest you get yourself a cutting mat and a rotary cutter. It just makes working with fabric so much easier. And if you don't have one of these rulers, which I love my quilting ruler, I'll leave a link to this down below. If you don't have one of these, what you could use, you could buy yourself a rotary cutter and a little mat, and you can get yourself one of these. Or if you already have like a Sizzix, you know, like a Big Shot, you can use those plates to kind of get like a straight edge to cut away from. I used that for a while before I invested in a little bit better equipment over here. Okay, so that is going to be our rainbow quilt cover. And like I said, this can be used for a lot of journal sizes. You just have to adjust where you cut around it. So you guys, I am still going to stitch in between here, in between all the lines. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but that is what I like to do. I did end up having to cut off a tiny bit of this strip right here so that this one could be a little bit even. You can squeeze them down. Sometimes you don't cut them right, so you can kind of overlap it to kind of hide that. But overall, it's a pretty fun type of cover to do. It's not the easiest thing, but it is fun. Now, if you want to come back for part 2 of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to actually make it into a cover. And in part 3, we'll go ahead and sew in all the signatures the way that I always do my journals. So if you want to come back to my channel, subscribe so you can see when the next part of this tutorial comes out. So go ahead and subscribe. I do go live Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time if you want to come and hang out with me. I just do different things around here in my craft room. I pretty much only craft a junk journal, so that is always what the topic is at hand. So thank you guys so much for joining me here on this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys try it out. It's not the hardest, but it is like a fun result in the very end. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next part of this tutorial or on my next live. Bye!